Okay, so we're going to be factoring again. We're going to take it up a notch and make it a little bit more difficult now. So just to review, we want to see what two things multiply to get me this, but add to get me this. So I got 4, and it's both plus, so I know my answers are both going to be positive. So I got 4 times 4, I got 2 times 8, 16 times 1, 3 doesn't go into it, 5 doesn't go into it, 6 doesn't go into it, 7, 8, already got. So do either of these add to get me 10? Well, 2 and 8 do, so we got x plus 2 and x plus 8. So then if I FOILed it back out, it would be x squared plus 2x plus 8x plus 16, which is x squared plus 10x plus 16, which is my final answer. So that was right. Okay, so now we're kicking it up a notch. It's not as easy because we got this 2 in the front here. It's not where you just multiply the back end and add to see what you get here. So we're going to do this thing called the bottoms up method. So what you're going to do is take this and multiply it to the back end. So we're going to get x squared plus 13x plus 30. Now we got to see, well, first, in that first step, we want to make sure there's no GCF, and there wasn't. There's nothing I can take out of it. And so now we got to this step, and we want to see things that multiply to get me this and add to get me this, since now there's nothing in front here. So we got 5 times 2, or 5 times 6. We've got 10 times 3, and it's plus plus, so we know they're both positive. And oh, I look, 10 times 3 gives me that 13 when I add them together. So I got the x plus 10 and x plus 3. But since we multiplied this 2 in the front, we have to somehow bring it back in. So what I'm going to do is divide both of these by that 2 now. So because we multiplied, now we got to do the opposite to get it back in front, so we divide. So 10 divided by 2 is 5. But I don't want this in a fraction, so I'm just gonna, it's called bottoms up, so we got to bring the bottom up. So we're gonna have 2x plus 3. Now we have no fractions. So this is my answer, x plus 5 and 2x plus 3. So we brought the bottom up. Once you do these a lot, you'll get used to it. I promise it's not as crazy as it seems. Okay, so first, is there a GCF? They don't all share x's, and if I wanted to try to pull a 3 out, 3 does not go into 20, so that wouldn't work. So we're good to go ahead and multiply this in the back. So I'd get x squared plus 20x plus 36. So again, I got a plus plus, so I know my answers are both going to be positive. So what multiplies to get me this and adds to get me this? So I got 3 times 12, 6 times 6, 9 times 4, and 18 times 2, so, and 1 times 36. Okay, so do any of these add to get me 20? So this one looks like it does, so I'll have x plus 18 and x plus 2. Well, again, we multiplied here, so now we got to divide everything by 3. So we're going to do our bottoms up part. So 18 divided by 3 works, so that's 6. And now this is a fraction, so I'm going to bottoms up it. So 3x plus 2. And then I want you guys to FOIL it to check your answer. But here, that should work. Okay, let's see if there's a GCF. So whenever I look at any problem, I'm always going to try to pull out a GCF now. So it looks like they have a 2 in common, so I'm just going to divide them all by 2. We do this to make the problem a heck of a lot easier. So I'm going to have 2 on the outside, and 2x squared plus 13x minus 16. Okay, and it doesn't look like there's any more GCF after that. So now I can send this 2 back, and I'm going to change colors here. So I'll have 2 still on the outside. You can't forget about it. It just can't disappear. We're going to get x squared plus 13x minus 32. So things that multiply to get me negative 32, but add to get me 13x. So I got negative 8 times 4, 8 times negative 4. I got 16 times negative 2, negative 16 times positive 2. I've also got, let's see. Okay, and I actually typed this one wrong, and I checked my math over here, and nothing adds together to get me this, so then my answer would just be this so far, because you guys haven't learned the next method yet. So let's hope this one works. So, it doesn't look like there's a GCF, so we're going to send this to the back. So I'm going to get x squared minus 7x minus 120. Okay, I would suggest pausing the video because I'm going to run through all the different ones that can make up negative 120. So you guys go ahead and try that first. Okay, so here's all the possibilities so far that I've thought of. I started with 1 times what, 2 times what, 3 times what would give me negative 120, 4 times it, 5 times it, 6 times it, 7, 8, and 9. And I'm trying to see what multiplies to give me this, but adds to give me negative 7. So 8 plus negative 15. So I'm going to go ahead and erase all these other options so I have some space. So x plus 8 and x minus 15. Okay, and then we have to make sure that we still do something with this 3. So we got to do our bottoms up part. So this is a fraction, so I'm going to do bottoms up. And then negative 15 divided by 3 is negative 5. So there's my answer. Okay, first we got to see if there's a GCF. It looks like they all have 2 in common. So we're going to divide them all by 2. So I'll have a 2 on the outside. 3x squared minus 5x minus 12. Got to send the 3 back. So I'm going to have x squared minus 5x minus 36. And now I need things to multiply to get this, but add to get this. So I'm going to get negative 12 times 3, 12 times negative 3, 1 times 30, negative 36, negative 1 times positive 36. I'm going to get 2 times negative 18, negative 2 times positive 18, negative 6 times positive 6. So I got 1 times a number, 2 times a number, 3 times a number, 4 can't go into it, 5 can't go into it, 6 can, and then we already got that, so 7 can't go into it, 8 can't go into it, 9 times 4, so we got negative 9 times 4, and 9 times negative 4, 10 can't go into it, 11 can't, and then we're already at 12. We've already done 12, so we're good. So which one of these adds to get me negative 5? Negative 9 times positive 4 does, so I'm going to erase all these other ones so we can write it out. So I'm going to have still my 2 on the outside, and then x minus 9, x plus 4. Okay, and it looks like we sent that 3 through, so I got to divide both sides by 3 here. So I'm still going to have that 2 on the outside. 9 divided by 3 is negative 3. This makes a fraction, so bottoms up. And there's my answer. And do not forget the GCF. The GCF never disappears. Okay, is there a GCF? It does not look like it. So I'm going to send this 5 back. So I'm going to get x squared minus 17x plus 70. So I need things that multiply to give me this, but add to give me this. So I can do negative 10 times negative 7, 10 times 7, negative 35 times negative 2, 35 times 2, negative 70 times negative 1, 70 times 1, 5 times 14, negative 5 times negative 14, Okay, so which one of these adds to get me a negative 17? Looks like this first one does, so I'm going to erase all the rest. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite it. X minus 10, x minus 7. Okay, and it looks like we multiplied 5 throughout, so I got to divide 5 and do my bottoms up. So negative 10 divided by 5 is negative 2, and bottoms up on this last one. So that's my answer. Okay, let's see if 84 is divisible by 3 to see if that's a GCF. And it is. So if I divide all these by 3, I'm going to have 3 on my outside because it's my GCF. So x squared plus 3x plus 28. So what multiplies to get me that, but adds to get me that. They're both positive, so I know that both of my things multiplying should be positive. So I got 14 times 2. I got 7 times 4. I've got 28 times 1. Oh, this was supposed to be a minus sign, that's why. So let's start this over. I messed up writing it. Okay, so now it's going to be different, so I can do negative 7 times positive 4, 7 times negative 4, and I automatically see that those two add together to get me a positive 3. So I'm going to have x plus 7 and x minus 4 with my GCF. Do not forget the GCF on the outside. Okay, and then it looks like we didn't send anything through, so that's actually just my answer. We don't have to do bottoms up because we didn't multiply anything to the back end. So that's my answer.